Good afternoon to one and all. I am Dr. D. Kumar. I invite you all at Unique Academy. Today we'll be discussing economic section of GS paper 3, mains 2026-27. My dear students, first of all, we need to discuss about the questions and the pattern which is being followed by UPSC in particularly in economic section of GS paper 3. If you look at the questions and if you look at the difficulty level, the questions were straightforward, and any student could write if he has knowledge about Indian economy and the various schemes and programs launched by the government of India regarding different issues, whether it's food processing, whether it's agri-produce marketing, whether it's technology emissions, whether it's digital rupee, and many other issues also. So, if you look at the difficulty pattern, the level of difficulty was simple to moderate, low to moderate, and altogether, this time UPSC has asked different questions pertaining to different issues being faced by the economy, and that's what is the good sign, because when you are assessing, going to be bureaucrats, so you need to understand, you need to check out the understanding level that whether they are updated with the issues pertaining to Indian economy or not. And that's why if you look at the questions, so definitely those questions, are altogether related to different issues being faced by Indian agriculture and different aspects of Indian economy. The first question which had been asked is about digital rupee, and it also has asked about working and progress of India's central bank digital currency. Now, if you look at digital rupee is nothing but e-rupee. And this is CBDC, central bank digital currency. So, जिस तरह से फिजिकल रुपी होता है, उसी तरह से क्या है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रुपी भी है, जिसको ई-रुपी कहते हैं. और this was one of the unique initiative issued by, RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Now, the way physical currency, in case of physical currency, we know that whenever RBI issue any physical currency, that becomes liabilities of RBI. That becomes liabilities of RBI. In similar way, whenever this digital currency or digital rupee will be introduced by, RBI, this again in a similar way will become liabilities of RBI. So this digital rupee is similar to physical form of currency. The only thing is that it's in electronic form. Other things remain same. The other difference is that we do have physical wallets in order to store our physical currency, but here in this case, we need to have electronic wallets. Second part of this question which has been asked is that progress of India's central bank digital currency. As far as progress is concerned, RBI has introduced digital currency on a pilot basis, and as on date, 19 banks and 2 non-bank entities such as MobiKwik, they are part of this pilot circulation of digital rupee. RBI and the government is also thinking that they need to introduce digital rupee for direct benefit transfers and other form of subsidies. Initially, they have launched it on a pilot basis in states like Gujarat. Now they are thinking of launching the same in Chandigarh as well as Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Let's see what happens. But one thing is that, initial, experience of circulation on pilot basis, says that everything is going well, and altogether, if in the future also, RBI is able to successfully circulate the digital rupee, no doubt that will help in ensuring digital economy as far as Indian economy is concerned. So second question is altogether, if you look at the second question, examine the view that financial inclusion is an integral part of social and economic inclusion in a country like India. Also throw light on the usefulness of RBI's Financial Inclusion Index. Now, if you look at financial inclusion, important terms, how financial inclusion is an integral part of social and economic inclusion, and how RBI's Financial Inclusion Index is useful. Now, we need to emphasize on these particular points. Now, when you talk about financial inclusion, so financial inclusion is one of the component of, inclusive growth. Inclusive growth. So, when you talk about inclusive growth, it talks about social inclusion. It's talk about social inclusion. It talks about political inclusion. It talks about financial inclusion. Financial inclusion. Now, if we look at this particular government, so after 2014-15, the government of India has initiated different schemes and programs in order to attain financial inclusion, whether it's Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, whether it's Pradhan Mantri Jivan Jyoti Bima Yojana, whether it's Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana. All these schemes, no doubt, will ensure financial inclusion. Financial inclusion simply means that there are a larger section of population which are not part of formal financial services. So if you talk about these unbanked populations, most of the time they do lending and borrowing from unorganized money lenders, and they do charge very excessive and high rate of interest. So in a country like India, when we are thinking of $5 trillion economy and larger part of the population is unbanked, so altogether we may not be able to attain inclusiveness. So in order to attain inclusiveness, financial inclusion is very, very important. And no doubt when the unbanked class will able to access formal financial services through formal institutions, no doubt that will impact their level of poverty. No doubt they will be that will help in ensuring better livelihood also, because now they can borrow from the banks at lower rate of interest and can ensure setting up chote mote store. They can ensure that they can start certain small startup also. So earlier it was not possible, but now with the government focusing upon how the unbanked population can be part of formal financial services, so no doubt when more and more section of larger section of population will be part of these formal financial services, it's not only about accessing banking services, it's all about accessing insurance services, other financial services also, whether it's credit, whether it's lending, borrowing. So government wants that larger unbanked population should be part of these formal financial services. So no doubt, that will help them to move out from poverty, and at the same time, and they will be able to get some or the other form of employment opportunities also. Next part of question has been asked that usefulness of RBI's Financial Inclusion Index. If you look at the inclusion index, RBI's Financial Inclusion Index, it talks about three parameters. Number one is access. Number one is usage, and third important point is quality. So index is based upon three parameters, that is access, usage, and quality. And the value of index range from 0 to 100. 0 means that all the larger population full financial exclusion, while 100 means full financial inclusion. If you look at the data of 2025, 26, ending March 2026, so financial inclusion index, the value was 70, which rose from 67 in March 2025. So that's what is ensuring more financial inclusion, and that's what is the need of the hour for the country. at present. So this was this particular question which was being asked. Now we need to go for third question, and third question is again a very straightforward question. It talks about technology missions in Indian agriculture, which can ensure food security. Now, if you talk about technology and Indian agriculture, I'll tell you that there are certain challenges being faced by Indian agriculture, and if technology infusion takes place in Indian agriculture, no doubt, that will help Indian agriculture growth in different way. Now, if you talk about one set where technology intervention can help in Indian agriculture, and that's what is, it can reduce wastage. It can ensure better productivity. Technology infusion also can help in SCM, that is supply chain management. So overall, whether you talk about storage, whether you talk about productivity, whether you talk about different set of agriculture equipments, inputs in the form of agri equipments, technology can play a major role. So no doubt, technology, impacts Indian agriculture positively, and that's what is need of the hour for Indian agriculture also. Now, if you look at the different technology missions which have been introduced by government, so Government of India has launched special programs, in the form of different technology missions in order to increase agri production, in order to improve the quality of crops and help farmers earn better income. And technology infusion also has led to, has led to adoption of sustaining or sustainable farming practices, and that's what is also very, very important. Now, different technology missions which has been introduced by government, we can say that the number one, which the government introduced in 1986, and that was technology mission on oilseeds. Second one was technology mission on cotton. Third was National Food Security Mission, Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, which the government introduced in 2014, National Mission on Natural Farming and Edible Oils, which the Government of India introduced. So altogether, Government of India has introduced different set of different set of special programs in the form of technological mission. And that has also helped them in diversifying the production of different major agricultural crops. Because whether you talk about edible oils, that is need of the hour for India, whether you talk about horticulture, that has helped horticulture production also. So government there also intervened with special programs on horticulture. So what we can see is that whenever government has come out with certain special program, special schemes, in the form of technological missions, that has always helped Indian agriculture, and that's why the overall productivity, although there is a larger demand, but we can say that the overall productivity in different set of horticulture products, different set of cereals, that all together have increased in the last few years. Now, all these missions, as I told you, that have helped in increasing supply, that has helped in better attainment of climate resilient crops. Then we are also able to have nutrient based food crops. So that's what that is how technology missions have helped Indian agriculture. So this again was a straightforward question being asked by UPSC. I think most of the students must be able to answer these questions or attempt these questions very well. Next is explain the factors responsible for inefficiency of agri-produce agri-produce marketing, how e-commerce helps to reduce inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. Now, if you look at the reasons for or factors responsible for inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. Now, if you look at the first point, wherein how farmers sells its food crops. So, if the farmer is small and marginal, most of the time he goes for distress sale where he does not get a rational price for its produce. And in normal cases, what happens? That due to involvement of multiple intermediaries, the price spread between producer and consumer is very, very high. Neither producers are benefited nor the consumers because of multiple intermediaries. So at one end, producer has suffered because he has not got the rational price, and on the other hand, consumer has suffered because he is forced to pay a higher price. And that is only because of multiple intermediaries, and that's what is the biggest inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. Second important point is regarding asymmetric information. Farmers do not know what is the real price of its produce. The local traders in the form of intermediary, they may not give due price for their produce because when it's a small and marginal farmer, he does not think it rational to take its produce which is in a small quantity to the nearby market, and that's why he is forced to sell he is forced to sell to the local traders. So since he is not aware about the information, he does not get the rational price for its produce. And most of the time, in existing agri-mandis, the farmers does not know that what is the price prevailing, or if government has announced certain minimum support price, so he is not aware also. There was a report by Niti Aayog which says that certain farmers from Assam, they do not know even about what is MSP. So all these asymmetric information, if it continues for a longer period of time, so that will no doubt will lead to market failure. Third important point is that due to multiple intermediaries, there is huge wastage also. Wastage at the producer level, wastage at the wholesale mandi level, wastage at the retailer level, wastage at consumer's home, और wastage हमारे थाली में. Now, if you look at the wastage, this is only because of involvement of multiple intermediaries in between, producer, that is farmer, and consumer. So if you could reduce the wastage, larger part of supplies, crisis or supply constraints can be solved. In case of agri-produce marketing committees, at times there are delayed payments and a farmer cannot afford to go for it. At times they pay commissions also. So with all these in mind, if you look at the different markets, where a farmer is forced to sell its produce in the existing cases. So the markets used to be fragmented, and this is also one of the inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. There are differing state APMC laws. In few of the states, they have taken certain measures in order to abolish APMC or reform to certain extent. Government also went in ahead with electronic national agricultural market, a unified market that also resolved to certain extent this fragmentation of agri markets. But this unified ENAM, electronic national agriculture market, this may not help small and marginal farmers to a certain extent, and they need to be looked at from different angles. Real challenge in Indian agriculture is not with big landlords or larger farmers. The challenge is it with a small and marginal farmers. Don't you think that these small and marginal farmers will always like to go for distress sale, क्योंकि पहले ही से उनके ऊपर इतना burden है. So even though government came out with ENAM, I don't think that these would help small and marginal farmers to larger extent. Now, in this situation, e-commerce, which directly link the producer and consumer, eliminating the intermediaries, can help. And that's why your question says that how e-commerce helps to reduce inefficiency. First of all, it will eliminate intermediaries. So larger part of inefficiency of agri-produce marketing will be solved. When producer and consumers will be directly related, so wastage to certain extent also can be reduced. There will be, the price spread will be narrowed down. Farmers may get a better price relatively. Similarly, consumers also will be benefited. There will be smooth digital payments. So in all these, ENAM or electronic national agriculture market also can play an important role. But again, as I told you, the problem, the challenge at the ground level is only with small and marginal farmers. So even in their case, we are not very much sure that how e-commerce will be helping them in resolving their problems, because larger hardships lies with small and marginal farmers. Now if we look at the next question, so next question talks about key challenges for India's energy security and how we can ensure energy security along with economic growth and sustainability. At a time when we are talking about $5 trillion economy, so in order to take our economy at that level, there shall be much requirements for energy also. So as and when the country will be moving from developing to developed, so that will call larger requirement for energy also. Now today, if we look at the Indian energy, so government of India has introduced different schemes in order to promote renewable energy, enhance grid stability, reducing carbon emissions, and the key initiatives include, in recent months you have seen how government of India is promoting PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, PM Ki Kusum, National Green Hydrogen Mission. Now all these no doubt ensures that India is committed towards clean energy and self-reliant energy in the near future. Now today energy security has become much important due to our larger import dependence. And in the recent years, we have seen that due to geopolitical conflicts, India has become always at the mercy of some or the other countries. कोई कहता है कि उनसे मत खरीदो, कोई कहता है मुझसे खरीदो. So that all together has made the situation very difficult in Indian context, and that's why India need to diversify its different sources of energy and also need to diversify the suppliers. The world is no longer that where in India can afford to rely on one supplier. Considering the larger requirements for the energy. Second important challenge for India's energy security is that at a time when we are talking about solar energy, at a time when we are talking about electric vehicles in India, and for that, critical minerals becomes very, very important. As on date, we know that there are two countries which are monopolizing the market. One is USA is trying to monopolize the market in context of AI, and China is going to monopolize the market in context of critical minerals. So if India is not able to have access to critical minerals, so India's mission in order to explore solar energy or electric energy, all together will be, in vain. So this is one of the important challenge, and hence India need to have different set of agreements with African countries, another set of countries where there are larger chances that they do have a larger set of reserves for critical minerals. As far as existing challenges are concerned, so the third challenge is that DISCOMs and their financial distress. For the last so many years, we are saying that they are, facing one or the other challenge. So this distress need to be resolved. We need to come out with sustaining solutions. The next important challenge is that larger thermal dependence or coal energy dependence. Now next comes how we can ensure better energy security along with economic growth and sustainability. As I told you, my dear friends, that we need to diversify the source of energy as well as suppliers. We need to strengthen strategic reserves and infrastructure. We need to promote international solar alliance. We need to have partnership with countries for critical minerals. As we know that Kabil lithium agreement in Argentina, where India went ahead with it. So these are certain initiatives which government need to take in order to ensure India's energy security. But most important point is that, as far as Indian consumers are concerned, there need to be behavioral shift the way we consume energy. And this behavioral shift is also one of the important, reason where which can ensure energy security. So every Indian need to take certain measures. When we want to switch on the AC at home, कब करना है, कितनी जरूरत है? We need to ensure optimization of this energy. I'll go to nearby gym by driving a BMW, and there I'll do warm up before the regular exercises. So here there can be major behavioral shift where घर से निकलकर मैं वॉक या जॉग करके चला जाऊं जिम, सो पहले ही वार्म अप हो जाएगा. Now these are certain few things which we as Indians need to ensure that how we can save energy, and that's what can ensure intergenerational equity also. Otherwise we can always think that things are not going to be very easy for our future generation. This is all what you can write about. Again, the next question was all about startups. How are startups in India promoting entrepreneurship, innovation and employment, global and domestic challenges in the working, and suggest suitable measures to overcome these challenges? Again, this was very direct questions where we can well understand that India is at a very critical point where larger startups are coming up in India, and no doubt government of India also is promoting startups with different set of schemes and programs. So these startups no doubt promote entrepreneurships, innovation and employment, and all together, we cannot think of that these larger set of labor force or workforce, when we want that they are to be, these labor force to be part of workforce, so no doubt there need to be, more startups. So we need to understand that the government of India has taken many measures, either giving different set of incentives in the form of taxation, infrastructure built up, law and order situations. So government of India no doubt has taken different measures, but there is always certain challenges, whether you say domestic or whether you say global challenges. If you look about regulatory challenges, so regulatory challenges today also, if you look at, most of the rules and regulations are very complex, and there are heavy compliance costs also, and that's why these, somewhere or the other, discourages, young minds in order to come forward and start a new venture. Second important point is that in few of the cases, there are shortages of skilled talent also, and that's what at this particular point of time, this is one of the important challenge where we need to understand that reskilling and upskilling becomes need of the hour. We cannot think that, whatever graduates, we are providing to the industry, we need to ensure that they are employable to the extent that, they know the recent trends, they know recent requirements of the industry. In case of changing technology, unless and until academia is very much serious about changing the or change in the design of the syllabus, will not be able to produce. Uh, 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 we will not be able to produce graduates or postgraduates which are employable in the industry. So, reskilling and upskilling is need of the hour. We can not ensure or we cannot think that कि पहले के जमाने में एक स्किल हमने ले लिया और उस स्किल के बेसिस पर we have worked throughout our life. Today and tomorrow, there is a larger difference between today and tomorrow, and that's why all the professionals need to be on their toes and they need to be ready in order to update themselves. And that's why that can help more startups to come forward, and that's what they will be helping in India's economic growth story. Next, domestic and global challenges is that we can well understand that for the last so many years, in fact, post-pandemic, we are experiencing geopolitical conflicts in one geographical zone or the other, and that's what is also prohibiting many startups, in order to explore. So all these are, different set of challenges, and the most important challenge which you can also write is that, persistent funding gaps always remain an important factor. Whatever you say today in Indian context, many startups die because they are not able to fund the working capital management, and that's why, due to capital constraints, they are not able to move ahead. So these are some of the few challenges, domestic or global challenges, which prohibits startups to explore further. Next question is that how Indian agriculture has been transformed from food security to food surplus level. Now, if we look at the years from 1950 to 1960, those were the years of food security, where for food crops also India was not self-sufficient, and India used to import food crops from other countries. But afterwards, you can well understand that India introduced different schemes and programs, whether it's intensive agriculture district program, which ensured green revolution. Then it was Operation Floods or White Revolution. Then it was in the form of institutions which India shaped also, like if you talk about FCI, which if you talk about CSAP, and all these ensured that India moved from or transitioned from food deficit to food surplus country. Now, different government. Now, the next part of the question is various government policies implemented for diversification of Indian agriculture. You can well understand that Government of India policy for mission for integrated development of horticulture, whether it was Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana for food processing sector, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, then it was for millet promotion, where government considered year 2023 to be International Year for Millets, recognition of millets as Sri Anna. All these are different steps being taken by the government in order to diversify, agriculture, Indian agriculture. Now, the last question which has been asked was different types of subsidies and supports being provided by Government of India to agriculture sector, and what are the related issues pertaining to agreement on agriculture of World Trade Organization. If we if we look for different type of subsidies and support being provided by the government of India, so if you look at the type of subsidies, so government of India no doubt provides, I mean, input based subsidies, is also provide uh, input subsidies in the form of subsidies on fertilizers, in the form of subsidies on electricity. Government of India also provides subsidies on canal irrigation, seeds, machine, interest, subsidy on buying agricultural inputs such as machinery. I mean, all these are different forms of subsidies being provided by the government. At the same time, government also provides, I mean, Kisan credit cards so that, I mean, farmers can easily manage their working capital. PM Kusum also supports solar pumps and decentralized renewable energy, and that's what is one of the unique government of India initiatives in order to support Indian farmers. Uh, Government of India also ensured minimum support price for different type of crops so that that can encourage farmers to produce more, because we all know that India has the largest population, and unless and until we do have a larger buffer stocks, so altogether we may face problem at the time of, I mean, drought or flood situations in a particular year. And that's why in order to have buffer stocks, I mean, farmers need to be encouraged with a better price so that they can produce more and more. Apart from it, Government of India has provided supports in different other forms also. If you look at ENAM, if you look at agricultural infrastructure development, if you look at farmer producer organizations, if you look at PM Kisan, where Government of India gives farmers 6,000 rupees annually. So all these are different, I mean, types of subsidies and supports being provided to the government, provided by the government. Now, if you look at related issues pertaining to agreement on agriculture, so there are different issues pertaining to agreement on agriculture as far as WTO is concerned. Now, if you look at the different WTO summits, I mean, in 2013 Bali summit, there was a clear conflicts between developed and developing countries as far as to what extent, I mean, minimum support price need to be given by developing countries to their farmers. See, if you look at the developing countries, the larger set of poor resides in developing countries, and unless and until these countries do have a larger buffer stocks, I mean, they may not be able to ensure food security for the larger set of population. And at Bali summit in 2013, I mean, these countries, I mean, always demanding that they need to continue with subsidies or minimum support price, because, I mean, in order to ensure food security, their farmers need to be encouraged. So at Bali summit, I mean, both the developed and developing countries agreed to have a permanent solution, and for that 4 years, I mean, was kept so that these countries can negotiate, and after 4 years they can come to a permanent solution as far as minimum support price is concerned. But after 2017, there was a major deadlock as far as agreement on agriculture is concerned, and USA did not want to go ahead with I mean, any kind of negotiations as far as minimum support price on agriculture crops is concerned. So these were the major, I mean, point of conflicts between developing and developed countries. And as on date, I mean, again, again, developing countries and developed countries have started negotiations as to what should be, I mean, what should be the base for common agreement between developed and developing countries.